Salya, king of Madra, was the brother of Madri, which made him uncle to Nakula and Sahadeva. When he heard the Pandavas were camped at Upaplavya preparing for war, his heart went to them at once, and he gathered a very great army and set off to join his nephew's cause. His army was so vast that wherever it halted for the night, the encampment stretched nearly 15 miles. The earth shook beneath its marching, and word of that great host, rolling toward the Pandavas, soon reached Hastinpura. And Duryodhana, hearing of it, saw not a threat but an opportunity. Duryodhana decided that Salya must somehow be won to his own side and set about it with cunning. He sent officers ahead with orders to provide Salya and all his men with the most lavish hospitality imaginable, sparing nothing. It was a trap, and its bait was kindness. Along Salya's whole route, beautifully decorated rest houses sprang up, one after another, and at each the king and his soldiers were treated to wondrous hospitality, food and drink and comfort lavished on them without limit. It was the reception of an honored ally, and Salya, weary from the road, drank it in gratefully. Salya was exceedingly pleased and made one natural, fatal assumption that his nephew Yudhishthira had arranged all this splendor to welcome him. Warm with gratitude toward the Pandavas he was marching to help, he never suspected the truth. His army rolled on, the earth trembling beneath it, toward a promise he had not yet made and would bitterly regret. So pleased was he that one day he called the attendants and said, "You have treated my army with such love that I must reward you all. Go to Kunti's son, get his consent, and let me do it." He meant Yudhishthira. The servants bowed and hurried off, not to Yudhishthira, but to their real master, waiting close by. For Duryodhana had been moving unseen with the party all along, and now his moment had come. The servants told him what Salya had said, and Duryodhana at once presented himself before the king and thanked him warmly for accepting Kaurava hospitality. Kaurava hospitality. The word struck Salya like cold water. Salya was astonished. He had suspected nothing. And, being a generous soul, he was genuinely touched by what looked like Duryodhana's chivalry. To lavish kingly hospitality on a man he knew to be marching to the enemy's side. "How noble and kind of you!" he exclaimed. "How can I ever repay you?" He had walked, gratitude first, straight into the snare. Duryodhana had his answer ready. "You and your forces should fight on my side," he said. "That is the reward I ask." And Salya was stunned. He had come to help the Pandavas, and by a single generous, thoughtless promise in advance, he had bound himself, in honor, to fight against them. The bait of hospitality had caught its fish. Here the epic pauses on a hard truth. Even wise and good and great men are liable to fall into error, and the old stories do not hide it. They show us the lapses of the noble precisely so that we may take warning. Salya was no fool and no villain. He was a good man caught by his own gratitude, and the moral is not that we should despair, but that however learned we are, humility and constant vigilance are the only guards against a fall. For the tales of great men's mistakes are set down not to allure us into wrong, but to disturb and warn us, to dispose the mind toward humility and watchfulness, and to make us feel our need of divine guidance. That is why the poets recorded even the lapses of a Rama or a Yudhishthira. Salya's stumble is one such warning, woven into the fabric of the tale, and it points quietly at all of us. "You are the same to us both," Duryodhana pressed. "I must mean as much to you as the Pandavas though. You must agree to come to my aid." And Salya, flattered and grateful and trapped by his own word, gave the answer that would range him against the nephews he loved. Be it so, he said. It shows what dangers can lurk. The epic remarks, in accepting the hospitality of kings, but Salya could not bear to go without seeing Yudhishthir. Duryodhan, he said, believe me, I have given you my word of honor, and I will keep it. But I must go to Yudhishthir and tell him myself what I have done. Go, said Duryodhan. See him and come back soon, and do not forget your promise to me. Good luck. I trust you not to betray me. So Salya rode heavily toward Upaplavya, a promised enemy going to face the family he had failed. The Pandavas received the king of Madra with great honor, and Nakula and Sahadeva were overjoyed beyond measure to see their mother's brother. They poured out to him all their hardships and sufferings of the long exile. And for a while, Salya sat among his true family, at home in their love, dreading all the while the thing he had come to tell them. And when the talk turned to the coming war and to his help in it, Salya had to tell them. Heavily, he related the whole story of the hospitality, the trick, and the promise he had given Duryodhan. The camp fell silent. The great army that was to have strengthened the Pandavas would now stand against them, and it was nobody's fault but a kind man's carelessness. Yudhishthir saw at once the lesson in it, that it had been a mistake to take Salya's help for granted, and so to let Duryodhan forestall them. But he did not reproach his uncle. He concealed his disappointment as best he could, and turned the loss over in his mind, looking, as he always did, for the thread of advantage hidden inside a misfortune. And he found one. For Salya was no ordinary warrior. He was the equal of Krishna himself as a charioteer. And Yudhishthir knew a secret of the coming war, that when Karna finally went to kill Arjuna, it was Salya he would want to drive his chariot. And in that fact lay a door. Yudhishthir, concealing his disappointment, prepared to ask his uncle for something almost impossible. The whole family gathered around, feeling the loss of Salya's army as a blow at the very start of the war. But Yudhishthir's mind had already moved past the loss to the strange chance folded inside it. A promised enemy could still, on the day that mattered most, become a hidden friend. If only he were willing. And Yudhishthir turned to his uncle to ask, for fate's twists, the epic reminds us, test even the strongest bonds, and no one, however good, can wholly escape the pull of a promise once given. Salya sat troubled, his loyalty to his nephews warring with his word to Duryodhan. He could not now break that word, but there might be a way to keep it and still serve those he loved. So Salya, carrying the burden of his promise, prepared to leave for the Kaurava camp, and the Pandavas watched him go, saddened but understanding, for they knew he had been snared and not turned. But before he went, one more exchange passed between uncle and nephew, the exchange that would matter more, on the last great day of the war, than the whole of Salya's 15-mile army. Great warrior, said Yudhishthir, you are bound to keep the promise you gave Duryodhan. I wouldn't ask you to break it. But hear me, you are the equal of Krishna in battle, and Karna will have you as his charioteer when he goes to take Arjuna's life. So tell me plainly, when that hour comes, will you be the instrument of Arjuna's death or his deliverance? I know I have no right to ask this of you, and still I ask it. And Salya gave the answer that redeemed him. My lad, he said, I was tricked into giving Duryodhan my word, and I shall be ranged against you in the war. But when Karna sets out to attack Arjuna, if I am his charioteer, then take it from me. I will so dishearten him that he will fight with half a heart, and Arjuna will be saved. Fear nothing. The sorrows and insults heaped on Draupadi and on you, all will soon be an avenged memory. From here on, fortune is yours. What fate has ordained, no one can prevent. I have acted wrongly. Bear with me. So Salya rode away to the Kaurava army, a general on Duryodhana's side, and a secret friend on the Pandavas. His 15-mile host was lost to Yudhishthira, but his tongue, on the last terrible day, was quietly pledged to the Pandav cause. It was a small thing beside an army, and it would prove, when the hour came, to be worth more than one. Such are the strange accountings of war, where a kind man's blunder, honestly confessed, becomes a hidden weapon, and where a promise given in the dark decides a duel fought in the light.